AWS certified security, AWS certified networking security. So you need to focus here on these certifications. Okay,
Okay, sir.
clear.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
and one more thing, sir.
Mhm.
Yesterday, actually, I think I missed or not. I don't know. Region replication and transfer.
Cross region replication is not yet discussed. Today we'll be discussing cross region replication.
Okay. Because in
So
the agenda that is not listed. That's why.
no, we had no. It was there in the agenda, but we have not completed that. So that's the reason we are starting with cross region replication today. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Sikendra.
Yes,
And
sir.
you're from which location?
Hyderabad only, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sikendra.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. So we have discussed about the versioning. We have discussed about static website hosting. We have discussed about storage classes. AWS provides different storage classes. Now I'm discussing about the concept of cross-region replication. By looking at the name, you can easily understand what the functionality behind this cross-region replication. Replication is nothing but a duplication, isn't it? Cross-region, a duplication in a different region. When a client uploads an object or a particular bucket of a specific region, when a client uploads an object in a bucket of a specific region, the client wants that same object to be replicated in a different region. Okay, so objects, some clients wants the objects to be replicated in different region, because if object is not replicated, the complete network traffic will be attracted to specific regions. So to avoid that, to balance the network traffic across different regions, especially clients who are having millions of customers all over the world, okay, to distribute the network traffic, they want their objects to be replicated in different regions. So thus can be possible by using the term called cross-region replication. To work out with this cross-region replication, we need to have minimum 2 buckets. Yes, our plan is to create 2 buckets. First bucket I'll be creating in Mumbai bucket, and second bucket I'll be creating in Sydney region. So let's go ahead and do this first. Let's log into AWS account. I already have logged into AWS account right now. I logged into AWS account right now. You know, S3 dashboard is global. Right now, there are no buckets. I'm going ahead and creating a new bucket. The first bucket I want to create it in Mumbai region. Okay, so our plan is to create buckets in 2 regions, and we are dealing with the Mumbai region and Sydney region. Okay, so let's do that. Create bucket. As I'm creating the bucket in the Mumbai region, I want to name the bucket starting with Mumbai, some number, and I want to create the bucket in Mumbai region. By default, the bucket is blocked. I want to remove the block. I acknowledge the settings, and I create the bucket. Bucket successfully created. Next, I want to create one more bucket in the Sydney region. So create a bucket. The bucket name I'll also start with Sydney, just to understand easily. And where do you want to create the bucket? I want to create the bucket in Sydney. Done. We are done with creating 2 buckets, one bucket in the Mumbai region and one bucket in the Sydney region. To experience cross-region replication, we need to enable versioning in the buckets. We need to enable versioning in a source bucket as well as destination bucket. So we have one source bucket which is in Mumbai region, and we have a destination bucket in the Sydney region. So what we have to do is to enable versioning. So cross-region replication works only when you enable versioning both at the source bucket and the destination bucket. I will be enabling my source bucket is Mumbai bucket. I'll be enabling the versioning in the Mumbai bucket, as well as I will enable versioning in the city. First bucket, Mumbai bucket. How to enable versioning? You are right. You need to go to properties. The first properties versioning, by default, it is disabled. I go to edit. I enable versioning at my source bucket. Similarly, I will be enabling versioning at my destination bucket. Properties. I have enabled versioning both at Mumbai bucket as well as Sydney bucket. Okay, next. Enable cross-region replication. Enable cross-region replication at my source bucket. What is your source bucket? Our source bucket is, our plan is to, our concept is, look at this. Let's say we have two buckets, one in Mumbai, the other one is Sydney. Yes, we have it. When we upload object in Mumbai, the object should also be available in the Sydney bucket. Yes, that is called cross-region replication. As we are replicating an object in different region, another region, it is called as a cross-region replication. So you need to enable cross-region replication. You need to enable cross-region replication at your source bucket. Your source bucket is Mumbai bucket. Go to management. In the management, you have replication rules. You have to create replication rule. You have to create a replication rule. Rule name can be anything. I'm writing it as CRR1 and mention the rule name. And you need to select an IAM role, and then you need to create a new IAM role. So what is IAM role? We'll see it soon. First, let's enable cross-region replication at source bucket. Go to source bucket, management tab, replication rules. Right now, there are no replication rules. I am creating a replication rule. Rule name can be anything. I'm writing it as CRR, stands for cross-region replication rule 1. That's fine. Scroll down. Source bucket is already Mumbai bucket. I want to apply this rule, replication rule, to all the objects. You can apply to limited number of objects by applying filters. You can explore it more. Select the destination bucket. Okay, my destination bucket is in same account, which is in Sydney. That's my destination bucket. Next. Whenever you are dealing with a relationship between multiple regions, it's always good to create a rule. We have to create a rule. What is IAM rule? We do not know it. Anyways, we'll be learning it soon. So here, just say option, create a new role. Just select an option, create a new role. That's enough. Okay. Just create a new role, and then that's it. Save. I have applied cross-region replication. The source bucket is Mumbai bucket. The source region is Mumbai region, and the destination bucket is clearly mentioned that as in the Sydney region. As we have enabled cross-region replication, as simple as that. So let's upload an object in the Mumbai region. Let's upload an object in the Mumbai region. The same object should be available in the Sydney region. So before getting uploaded, right now there are no objects in Mumbai. And look at the Sydney bucket. There are no objects in Sydney. Both are empty. So I'm going to my source bucket. My source bucket is a Mumbai bucket, and let us upload an object. Let's say in my desktop, I am uploading this AWS image as my object, and I go to permissions. That's okay. It's not required, but still I provide the grant public access. I acknowledge the settings, and then I upload the object. So what I'm doing now, I have just now uploaded the object in the source bucket. As we have uploaded the object in the source bucket that is called as Mumbai bucket, the same bucket should also be now available in the Sydney region. 1 minute, please. I need to take an important call. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. So as you know, we have uploaded the object in the Mumbai bucket. Now that object should be available in the Sydney bucket. Yes, you are right. It's replicating is successful. So cross-region replication is all about duplicating the objects in multiple regions. Okay, clear? This, as the name suggests, this is called as cross-region replication. As simple as that. Okay. So any questions on cross-region replication? Sanjay, your question for cross-region replication.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for accepting.
Thank you.
I would like to know, we upload the object in Mumbai region, then it is reflecting in Sydney region, right?
You're
But
right.
what else if we upload in Sydney? So
No,
then
vice versa will not happen. Okay, it's only from source to destination. Okay, now let's upload object in the Mumbai bucket. It will be replicated in Sydney bucket. When you upload the object in Sydney bucket, it will not be replicated in Mumbai bucket. At the same time, when you update the object in the Mumbai bucket, that will not be updated. There will no synchronization. It happens at the time of creating the object. That's all, Sanjay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And if both the objects will have a separate object URL, so both are completely independent object. Replication happens only at the time of creating the object in the source bucket. That's all. Okay, good question. So let's delete this cross-region replication concept. So I want to delete empty. First, I want to empty the I also want to empty the Mumbai bucket. S3 is pretty simple. Okay, pretty simple. The most important was identity and access management, and the most important is VPC. The upcoming sessions are very important. Done. Okay, so done. Let's move to next concept. Transfer acceleration. Transfer acceleration. So to understand this transfer acceleration, you have to look at this diagram. The next feature what we are discussing after cross-region replication is transfer acceleration. Okay. Shah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. So the transfer acceleration feature enables fast, easy, secure transfer of files over long distances between end user and S3 bucket. Okay. So when the end user and the bucket are geographically at very far distance, Shah. Okay. For
Yeah.
example, if you look at this image, end user is somewhere in New Zealand. Okay. And the bucket is somewhere in Europe. They are very far distance, isn't it?
Yes.
At this point of time, when an end user is uploading an object, a very heavy object, okay, it takes a lot of time. Okay, it takes a lot of time. If there is any network fluctuation, again, you need to start from the beginning. This is what happens when there is a when the end user and the bucket are geographically at very far distances. Okay, sure.
Yes.
So to overcome this feature, we have concept of transfer acceleration. When you enable transfer acceleration uses Amazon CloudFront distributed edge locations. This is something new we are learning today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon uses what locations? Edge locations. As of now, Shah, we know that we have regions, isn't it? Mumbai is one region, Sydney is one region, Singapore region is one region. How many regions AWS is having? Any
More
idea?
than
Can you-
60.
How many regions your AWS infrastructure is having?
I think more than 60.
Okay. AWS global infrastructure map will show you the number of regions as of now AWS is maintaining. And Mumbai is one region, isn't it? So total 25 regions.
Okay.
AWS is having 25 regions, and in India we have one region, that is Mumbai, isn't it? Okay, that's only
Yes.
one region, and there's one more upcoming region. Okay, now not regions. There's something called edge locations. Okay,
Mhm.
edge locations are something like a tiny data centers, small data centers. These are called as what? Sure, edge locations. Okay,
Yes.
so if you search in Google, number of edge locations of AWS. How many edge locations?
With
Wow.
44. I think there were 81 availability zones.
Okay, and
uh,
edge locations. Let me think of 1 minute. Number of edge locations in India. In India, edge locations are available in Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and
Mumbai.
Mumbai. So 5 edge locations only in India. Okay.
Yes.
So regions are different. I hope I'm very clear, Shah. Region is different. Region is a very huge data centers. Okay, they are called as regions, and edge locations are very small. Okay, data centers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so the total number of edge locations in the world.
Sir, is edge location inside the region or it is independent?
It is
Like
independent. It is
Okay.
independent. Okay. Okay, so there are a lot of edge locations. I will be in hundreds. Okay, in the world. 218 edge locations. Okay, regions are 25. I mean 218 edge locations all over the world. Okay, so edge locations scattered all over the world. Okay, now what happens is when you enable transfer acceleration, the end user is in New Zealand and the final destination bucket is in Europe. Shah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
first, what happens? The object gets uploaded into the nearest edge location. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So as there are more number of edge locations, so you find the nearest edge. It automatically finds the nearest edge location. First, the object will be uploaded into the edge location.
Nearest. Yep.
Edge location. From the edge location, finally the objects will be moved on to the actual bucket. It's a hops. It's a step and jump. Okay. Clear?
Yep.
So Amazon uses edge locations, and then when you enable what feature? Transfer acceleration. As the name suggests, it helps you to upload your objects very fast, manage your objects when the end user and the bucket are geographically are very at far distances. Okay. Now finally the distance is the same whether it is edge location or directly to the bucket, isn't it, Shah? But the difference how exactly happens is Amazon regions and the edge locations are tightly integrated with the AWS internet speed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And when user uploads the object, first the object gets uploaded into the nearest edge
Edge
location.
location.
For that uploading purpose, it uses end user's internet speed. Once the object is uploaded into the edge location, from there, the objects will be finally uploaded into the bucket, and for that it uses AWS internet
AWS
speed. And AWS
speed,
internet
yeah.
speed is definitely 10 times or 20 times faster than our internet speed. So they are very high internet connected over high speed cables. So you will extremely experience the faster and easy way of managing objects when the end user and the bucket are at distributed or at a long distance. Got it?
Yeah. So, sir, as an example, if let's say you are showing S3 bucket from Europe, and let's say I am in New Zealand, so whatever you paste the link in the chat box, if I access, then it will be through that.
You're talking about the object URL.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about accessing.
Okay.
Reading is pretty fast. Uploading is all mainly used for uploading your objects.
Okay. Yes.
It's about writing the data into your bucket. Now there's not about reading the data. Read is by default, it's fast. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is about a transfer acceleration. So let's experience the concept of transfer acceleration. So there's nothing much to practically see about transfer acceleration. Okay. I will create a bucket. I want to create a bucket. Okay, it doesn't matter. It can be any region. Anyways, we're not practically uploading it. So I am going with Mumbai region again. Create bucket. Bucket created. Next, you need to enable transfer acceleration. Under properties, we have transfer acceleration. Just enable it. Select the bucket, go to properties. There is a property called transfer acceleration. Right now, by default disabled, I will be enable the transfer acceleration. Okay. So this is a billable SHA. You can see it will incur additional fees because we are using Amazon edge locations. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you save it and then when you enable transfer acceleration, okay, so the way you have to upload the object is a little bit different. You have to use an endpoint. Okay. So you will find experience with respect to difference of speed in case of transfer acceleration. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is about transfer acceleration. Next. Encryption. When a client thinks that the data which they are uploading into the object is highly secure, the client thinks that the data which they're uploading, they're saving in the object is very, very secure. So they can apply one more layer of security by enabling the concept of encryption. First, very important point you need to know, my dear friends, in the interview, they may ask you this question: what is the highest concerns clients have when they want to move from their on-premises data center to cloud? Okay. When the client wants to move from on-premises data center to cloud, the highest concerns they have, the main concern, not about billing. Clients are ready to pay the bill because of the features what cloud is providing. Main concern is security. They're just worried about how secure our infrastructure is, my infrastructure is, how secure my data is. Okay. So AWS does not compromises on security. Wherever possible, it always provides you an additional layer of security. This is one layer of security where you can enable encryption at your bucket level. When you enable encryption at your bucket level, whatever the object you are uploading into the bucket, it will be encrypted and stored in the disk. And when you're reading, it will be decrypted and it is shown you. Okay. So this is one more layer of security SHA. Okay. And AWS provides two types of encryptions. One is single encryption, the other one is double encryption. You can say it as advanced encryption standard. The other one is key management service. So they can select any encryption and then they can make sure that the data is much more secure. Okay, how to enable encryption? As simple as that. Go to properties. Everything is under properties. Go to properties. That by default there is no encryption. Okay, encryption is disabled. SHA. Edit. And AWS provides two types of encryption. The moment you enable it, it will ask you what type of encryption you can select, and you can learn more about encryption. It's all about encrypting and saving the data in the disk. So when you save changes, okay, Now, whenever they upload the object into the bucket, it will be encrypted and it will, this is one more layer of security for the client satisfaction. Okay. So this
Yeah.
is called as encryption. Next. Metadata and tags. Metadata and tags. Okay. We all know metadata is all about additional information, isn't it, Shah? Okay. More information to a specific object can be provided by using metadata. Metadata is provided in the form of key value pairs. It is provided in the form of key value pairs. Okay. So how can we provide more information? Okay. Let's say, for example, let's upload the object. Right now, there are no objects into the bucket. I want to upload the object. Let's upload. Okay, any object I'm uploading. Let's say this is the object which I'm uploading. It's a text file. Okay. I acknowledge the settings. I upload the object. The object is uploaded. If you want to provide more information about the object, you can provide metadata. Where can we provide the metadata? Select the object. Okay. Under properties, can you see we have an option metadata? Okay. Shah, you can see there's an option called metadata. Already one metadata information is entered. It is identified. AWS is pretty intelligent. It already identified that the content what you have uploaded is a text content.
Yep.
It has identified it. Okay. If you want, you can add few more information about this particular object. Click on edit. And this additional information will be provided in the form of key value pair. Okay. The additional information you can provide it in the key value pair. You can add metadata. Okay. The system defined is nothing but predefined keys we have. Content language. Let's say this particular image is related to is
English.
In the English language. So you want to provide this information about the content. This content is related to English language. Okay. And then you can provide much more metadata. The system defined, they are user defined. In user defined, both keys and values are user defined. You can say it as team, and you can mention it as it is this particular object is uploaded by the Indian team. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Like this, you can successfully save the metadata. So metadata is all about providing more information to the object, Shah. Okay.
Yep.
So you can see we have provided more information about the object. You can select it as team. You can select it as language, whatever it is. Okay. You can select it as client and then mention the client name, to which client you are using this particular object. It's up to you. So metadata is all about providing more information. Okay. And the information, remember that we should provide it in the form of key value pair. This is about metadata. Coming to tags. You can track the cost and other criteria. Tagging is all about tracking the cost. Okay. Shah, when let's say you got a bill of $100 because of S3.
Yeah.
You got a bill of $100 because of S3. And you want to know majority of the bill is because of which particular object. Okay. So if you want to track that, you need to tag that particular object. When you tag an object using the tags, you can identify, okay, because of this particular object, we are getting more number of bill. So whenever you provide tags here, the tags will be reflected in the bill which is generated, so that you can actually easily refer this particular. Okay, so tags also can provide more information. You can add tags. Tags are also provided in the key value pair. You can write it as this is object for the client, and I say it as PayPal client. Okay, like this I say JDS. Okay,
So
like this
tag is for object or for the bucket?
For the object.
Object. Okay.
Object.
Yeah.
I have provided a tag for my object. Okay, not the bucket. You can see right now I'm in gopherhosting.txt. This is my object. Right now I'm in object level, and you can see metadata and tags is all about at the object level. Both metadata and tags provides more information. Metadata is all about additional information. Tags is only for tracking the cost. That's it. This is about metadata and tags. Let's move on. So we have discussed about cross-region replication, transfer acceleration, encryption, tags, metadata, access control list. ACL. Let's discuss about access control list. And next one is followed with bucket policies. Okay. Shah, I want to start from the scratch. Okay, so let's, bucket is not empty. I have made the bucket empty. And I am deleting the bucket. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. One minute, please. Yogendra, your question.
Hey, thank you, Sunil. You remember.
Thank you. I just now got remembered. So that's the reason.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I have a question from the previous two session what we had,
Yes,
Sunil.
please. Yeah.
The first question is that when we enable the versioning in S3,
Okay.
how much
Yep.
space is consumed?
What do you mean by consumed?
So suppose I saved two files similar, like after amending the second
After
file.
adding the changes, you have uploaded again the same object to the bucket. So
Bucket,
obviously, the old version will not be removed. You know that, isn't it? So it will
That's
consume the old version memory size, as well as it will altogether maintain a different object, the latest object that also consumes memory. So the more the objects you upload, it consumes more and more memory. Okay.
that means to say that the price will increase, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now the second question is a little bit way back. So we were discussing about the size, the file size when we upload to S3, the maximum is 5 terabyte,
You're right.
right? So that is through GUI. Why there is a difference between GUI and CLI? So if I do
Yes.
it through CLI, it is 5 GB,
Yes.
and the other one is 5. Why is
The
that?
file size restriction differs when you're using it from graphical user interface and when you're uploading the same file from the command line interface, because command line is having a limited support. Okay, it has limited support of memory. Command line is from the end user's terminal, that is from the command prompt. So he will be writing one command which will upload the objects into the bucket from the command. So this command lines does not support huge memories of terabytes. So that's the reason it only supports 5 GB, whereas console is more about application. This application is created using, I think so, JavaScript. So it is developed in such a way that it handles in terabytes of size. So that's the reason you'll experience the difference when you're using command line interface and the graphical user interface. Okay,
And the
again.
last but not the least, the difference between availability and durability of S3 bucket.
Okay. You don't need to worry about this. Both are same. Okay. It's 100% available. That's it. Okay.
Fine. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Durability in the sense, if you upload an object now, you can access the same object after 10 years also. Okay. Then you will not find any difference in the object. Okay.
It actually gives 11 nines. That's why I was thinking about it. So,
yeah. Yes. Okay. So that's equal to 100%, isn't it? Yogindra?
Yeah. That's more than 100.
So the only thing when we cannot get our applications or data is when the entire world is lost. Okay. 100%.
Yeah, almost like due to COVID, the world is already lost.
And now it's the world. The more and the. Have you seen Yogendra? There are a lot of openings in COVID, especially now. Okay. Because all core companies are more and more becoming dependent on technology because of pandemic.
That's
okay.
Correct.
So core industries are more and more dependent on technology. That's the reason if you now experience now The IT industry, there's a lot of openings, irrespective of the technology, whether it's AWS or whether it is Azure or GCP or Node.js, AngularJS, it could be Java, Python developers, artificial intelligence. Take any technology, take Oracle, take any technology, you have recruitments huge going on. So this pandemic has driven technology. Technology is the only way to overcome this scenario, isn't it, Yogendra? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Totally agree with you on that, Sunil.
yeah, you can see the Indian market, you can see the US market, you can see the global market. As per the information what I have, there's a lot of recruitments going on. Okay. And
All I know
yesterday,
is
and yesterday,
AWS. Yeah, go ahead. Go
and
ahead.
yesterday I got a good news from our previous batch. Okay. You have to trust me. So I got a message saying that he got offer in Capgemini. Okay. As a DevOps engineer with 3 years of experience. Okay.
Super.
So I want to share that, but I'm not sure. I got a WhatsApp group. If possible, I share it to the 77 batch. Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Any
Thank
more
you so
questions,
much.
Yogendra?
I'm good. Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you. Okay. So right now, no buckets. So we are about to learn concept of access control list and bucket policies. Okay. Both are used for sharing the objects. Both are used for sharing the objects. Okay. I want to start with access control list, and then I want to discuss about bucket policies. To start with access control list, you can control your objects, who should able to access and who should not be able to access. By looking at the name, you can easily understand access control. You can control your access about your objects. Okay. So let's experience the concept of access control list. For that, let's create a bucket first. I'm creating a bucket in the Mumbai region, and Shah, have you
Yes, sir.
observed? Always I'm okay. I'm unblocking it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I acknowledge the settings.
Yes.
And then I am creating a bucket. Okay. This is the way I'm following in creating the buckets. Okay. Next, I upload the object. Okay. Let's upload an object. I'm selecting a particular object, Shah, and then I'm going to permissions. Okay. The moment I click on permissions, you can got the option called access control list. We already have started using access control list. We are selecting a general property called grant public access.
Yeah.
That means all over the world, whoever is having the object URL, they can access the object. That's the meaning of public access. Am I right? Okay.
Yes.
Got it, Anuj? Okay. Next. Now, I'm discussing about access control list. Please observe, Shah. This is my bucket. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to permissions. You can see bucket policy.
Yep.
And you can also see access control list. Okay. Now, Shah, I have uploaded an object. My requirement is I want to share my object only to you.
Okay.
I want to share my object only to you, not everybody in the world. By default, I have provided public access. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So anybody can access my object, but I don't want access given to everybody. I want to provide only to you. Okay. Every AWS account will have a canonical ID, a unique number. My AWS account is AWS training, and my canonical ID is 862851160435 is canonical ID. Okay. In the same way, Shah, your AWS account is also having a canonical ID. Agree?
Yes.
Okay. So what I can do, I can go to my access control list. Okay. I can go to edit, and then I add grantee. I am granting, so I am grantor, and you are taking the grant, right? You are grantee. Agree?
Yes.
I am adding you as a grantee. You will be providing. You will be providing me your canonical ID. I will be entering your canonical ID, and I can provide you permissions that you can read my objects in my bucket. Okay, you can list my objects, you can write and my objects. Got it? And I
Yes.
click on save. So what happens? Only you can access the objects which I upload in my bucket. Got it? So
Yeah.
using access control list, okay, I can add grantees and I can provide you the permissions so that I am in full control, and then I am only allowing you to access my bucket. Clear? That is
Yeah.
possible using access control list. That I am doing at what level? At the entire bucket level. Sure.
Yes.
That
Yes.
means if there are 100 objects in the bucket, all the 100 objects, you can read it, you can write it, you can delete it, whatever you want, you can do it, because I have given you the permission. Okay. At the
Yes.
entire bucket level. Okay. Next, access control list can also be provided at the object level. Okay. Select the object and go to permissions. Same way, you can also see access control list. I can edit access control list. Right now, public access is read, isn't it, Shah? I
Yes.
scroll down. What I'll do, I'll add a grantee and I will provide you. I will add you as a grantee and I provide you the permissions. That means I am providing not at my bucket level. I am providing at my object level. Access control list can be provided how many levels? 2 levels. One is at the bucket level. The other one is at the object level. When I provide grantee at my bucket level, if there are 100 objects in my bucket, all the 100 objects you will have access, because obviously I have done it at the bucket level. Let's say if you don't want to do it at bucket level, you can also do it at your individual object level. Select the object, go to permissions, add the canonical ID and provide the permissions. Like this, you can also provide access to at individual object level also. Am I clear in explaining, Shah, how I can control my objects as well as buckets using access control list? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
The next way where I can control my objects is by using the bucket policy. Bucket policy. The main difference between access control list and bucket policy, both are used for providing access to the objects, but here bucket policy is applied only at bucket level. That's the
Okay.
reason it is named as bucket
Bucket
policy.
policy.
So you
Yeah.
can apply bucket policies are only at a bucket level. It is not available at object level. Obviously, you will not find any option at the object level. You need to go to the entire bucket level, go to bucket level, go to permissions, and I can provide permissions using the bucket policy. If I want to provide permissions using a bucket policy, I write a code here. Policies can be written using the JSON code. You have to learn JSON. Okay. And then there's a syntax wherein which you can write the code. According to the code, we can provide the policies to or access to the other users. Sure. Okay. So
Yes.
that's all about bucket policy. So bucket policy is all about providing the permissions to the bucket, and bucket policies are written using which code? JSON code.
JSON.
Bucket policies should be defined in the JSON code, and it is job of AWS administrator. You don't need to worry about this. Okay. And very important point you need to know. We don't have bucket policy. We do not have a bucket policy at what level? Object level. Bucket
level.
policy needs to be applied only at a bucket level. So whenever you want to share your objects, you have the two options: access control list and bucket policy. Access control list are available at 2 levels, at the entire bucket level as well as at the object level. Bucket policy is only at the bucket level, and bucket policies you have to define it using the JSON code. That's it. Okay. This is about how can we provide permissions, access to our objects which are present in the bucket using access control list and bucket policies. Okay, Shah.
Yes.
Next, life cycle management. Can you guess what do you mean by life cycle management? Are you able to understand something the moment you look at a word called life cycle?
Bucket life cycle.
Bucket life cycle. Yes, you are right. So what could be what does that mean? Can you guess?
From the start of the bucket creation till deleting or discarding the bucket, whatever we want to perform the operation, we can generalize in some way.
Okay. No, it's not like that. Life cycle management is all about many clients says that when I upload my object into the bucket, okay, as it is a new object, we can expect a lot of traffic, so it should be in a high speed storage class. After 30 days, the same object should be moved from high speed storage class to low speed storage class to save the bill, and that should happen automatically. You can define the life cycle rules, Shah.
Yeah.
You can define the life cycle rules saying that after 30 days from the date of creation of the object, my object should be moved from one storage class to other storage class. And after 180 days, it should be moved to much more low speed storage class. And after let's say 365 days, after 1 year, my object should be deleted automatically from the bucket. You are defining the life cycle rule. Okay, as per the rules you define, Shah, the objects will be moved from one storage class to other storage class, and after specific days the objects will be expired. Expired is nothing but the objects will be deleted from the bucket automatically. So you can apply the rules that is called as life cycle management rules at the bucket level, so that all the objects will follow that particular rule. Got it, Shah?
Yeah.
Did you understand
Sir,
the concept of life cycle?
one question.
Yep.
So are these rules only for storage class, or is there something else as
Storage
well?
class as well as for deleting the object. That's the main
Okay.
purpose. Okay.
Okay.
You want the objects to be deleted and you want the objects to be moved from one storage class to other storage class. In that case, you have to go for life cycle. There's no other option. Okay. So let's go to bucket. I want to define the life cycle management rule. Go to bucket and then go to management tab. In the management, right now, Asha, you can see there are no life cycle rules. I am creating a new life cycle rule. Okay. Rule
Yeah.
name can be anything. So I'm writing it as rule 1. I'm writing it as rule 1, and I want to apply rule for all the objects present in the bucket, and I acknowledge the settings, and then one minute. I want to transit the current versions of the objects between the storage classes, and right now the default is anyway standard. Okay, and the object should move to standard 1A after 30 days. Add transition, and my object should go to intelligent tiering. That is much more much more cheaper storage class after let's say 60 days, and then I want my object to be I also select this expire option. And then from there, I want my objects to be moved to one zone. Not one zone, that's enough. 2 transitions enough. And then after that, I want my object to be deleted automatically. Expire the current versions of the object. That's nothing but deleted automatically after 365 days of date of creation. And I am creating a rule. So what rule I have created? A life cycle rule I have created. The rule says like this, Shah, transit the objects to standard 1A, and then intelligent tiering, and then it expires. Okay. If you want to have a pictorial easy way of you can see day 0, you are uploading the object. Day 30, the object will be moved to the storage class. Day 60, the object will be moved to 60 storage class. After this 65, the current object will be expired. That's nothing but automatically deleted from the object. So this also, many clients use this life cycle management rules to reduce their bills and to manage their objects present in the buckets automatically. Clear, Shah?
Yes.
This is about life cycle management. This is more than enough about S3. S3 is all about managing files, and these are the special features what AWS provides you, because of which many clients are also preferring S3 as a preferred storage classes, and these are the features. And you will not get anything more than this in the interview. This is all about the service called as S3, Simple Secure Storage. Thank you, Shah. So let's have an interaction. Reena, how are you doing? I can see your hand raised, Reena. How are you?
Yeah, hi sir, I'm good sir. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Yes. You're from which location?
I am from Maharashtra.
Okay, your question.
Sir, I want to ask regarding the cross-region replication.
Okay.
So in that we have added one source and one destination, right?
We have mentioned one bucket as source bucket, and we have mentioned the Sydney bucket as the destination bucket.
Yes. So can we have one source bucket and multiple destination bucket?
Create one more rule. Do you remember when you're creating a cross-region replication rule, you have provided a rule name as rule 1. Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, you can create one more rule 2, and then you can replicate it in a different region. Let's say you want to replicate it in Singapore region, you can replicate it. So in such case, if you upload your object in Mumbai, as there are two replication rules, that particular object will be replicated in both the regions. One is Sydney region, the other one is Singapore region. Yes, multiple rules can also be done.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ramanamurthy, good afternoon.
Hey, Sanul, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you.
Yes,
And how about you?
I'm doing well. Your comments on the training?
Yeah, it is excellent actually. And even I joined for DevOps also.
Okay,
I
thank you.
paid the fees yesterday.
Morning
so
6 o'clock.
Yes, and
So
I
is it
got
tough
the
to wake up at morning 6 o'clock?
yes, because we we are going to bed around 1 o'clock in the night, so it is a bit tough. But we
Yeah.
and my question is regarding this transfer acceleration.
Yes.
Let's say that I mean sometime back I heard about the snowball terminology. Is
Yes.
both are one and the same?
No,
Or both are
snowball
different?
is used for migration. Okay. Not for
Okay.
transfer acceleration. Transfer acceleration is specific to S3 service. Okay. Snowball is for the entire data. Okay. Need not be
Okay.
ST. There are different other storage services also. No matter
Okay.
whichever the storage service is. Snowball is something like a migration service which helps you to migrate all the data. Okay. So that
Okay.
is, it's something like an external hard disk. That's completely different. Raman. We'll see it soon in the coming classes.
Okay. See, this transfer acceleration is only also applicable for the snapshots because we are taking some snapshot and transferring to other regions, right? So is it applicable there
No.
also?
Snapshots is part of a EC2 service.
No, what I'm talking is that this transfer acceleration, because we are transferring from one region to other region, maybe S3 or any, we are sending the data one region to other region.
No,
Maybe
not
is
one. That is cross-region replication.
okay.
Transfer acceleration is all about the faster uploads. That's all. Not
That's
one
all, okay.
region to other region. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay, Ramana. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Imtiaz, how are you?
How are you? I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Imtiaz, you are from which location?
I'm from Hyderabad location.
Yes, your question.
Regarding this zone and the points, what you said. So, what is the difference between that?
Not zone, region and cloud front, edge location.
Yeah, what is the difference between edge location and
Edge locations are very small data centers, okay, which are helping the actual regions. Okay.
Okay.
So very, very small data centers. If you can see, edge locations are available in Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, isn't it? Mumbai. So region is actual data center. In India, we have only one region, but
Okay.
every country, Amazon is maintaining their own edge locations. Okay. Edge locations are small data centers. You can visualize like that. Okay. Nothing more than this.
Okay.
Okay.
So that,
Yes.
in the data point of view, I mean, in the like there is no difference, right? So, if I have
No difference in the sense regions and edge locations are connected with AWS cables. Okay. That's the concept.
what is the point of having the different names or different places, these location and the zone?
For facilitating the end users. Okay.
Okay.
That's the main purpose. For example, as you can see, assuming there is no concept of edge location,
Mhm.
assuming there is no concept of edge location,
Okay.
if the person somewhere in New Zealand wants to upload the object which is in the bucket in Europe, there's no other option. He has to do it over his internet speed, MTS.
Okay.
It becomes very difficult. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So whereas they are helping the end users by having their edge locations scattered all over the world, so that the data gets automatically uploaded to the nearest edge location, that will be very fast. Okay. And
Then
from the
it
edge,
will transfer to the
then edge
preferred to
locations and
the-
regions are tightly connected with high speed internets. Okay.
it
So
means
MTS, it is
catching
100 times faster than our internet speeds. Okay.
It's mean a catching point of
Catching point. Yes, it's something like caching area, staging area. First, the data gets uploaded into a staging area. From there, it gets uploaded into the actual area, actual region. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
got
how the cloud edge locations uses.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes. So clients experience 70% or 80% improvement in the performance when they use transfer acceleration. Remember, all these features are paid features. Okay. Let's have one more interaction. So before ending it, Sumit, Padhyaya.
Hi, thanks, Sunil.
Thank you, Sumit.
So just wanted to understand difference between, two securities. I mean, encryption. When we were creating encryption, there were two options available.
Encryption is all about their own, what we say, encryption policies. Okay, there are two different policies. Okay, one is
Okay.
stronger encryption, the other one is a little bit less encryption. Okay, it's all about the algorithms. Okay, so there are two
Okay.
different algorithms. So they can read. We can read the document. That's all about. Finally, the data becomes much more secure because it is encrypted and saved in the disk. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So those are two different algorithms. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So thank you all. I hope you have enjoyed session. And what's planned for tomorrow? We have completed essay. What's planned for tomorrow, my dear friends? We are starting identity and access management. Much more interesting. And in this identity and access management, we'll also experience the command line interface. We have never experienced the command line interface. We have seen it that AWS also provides two types of interfaces, that is graphical user interface, command line interface. So tomorrow's session is all about identity and access management. Please do not miss tomorrow's session. Okay. And that's it. Okay. Thank you all and have a nice day. Bye, everybody.